Right, everyone, we are at Celtic Park, a pretty chilly Celtic Park, Asim, but 3 points have warmed us up. 2-0 against Kilmarnock, going on probably about 7 or 8 in that second half. I quite enjoyed that.
Not the first half. Should we just skip straight to the second half?
Okay.
It was in the end. It was quite enjoyable. I thought we were pretty good in the second half. It was a good watch. And at 2-0, you sometimes fear the game might peter out, but we just kept going. I think there was about 10-15 attempts just in the last 10 minutes or so, and it was in the end a very enjoyable afternoon.
Yeah, I thought there was plenty of positives in the way we approached the game. First half, maybe just taking too many touches from time to time when you're wanting things done a little bit quicker. There's probably a number of players we could talk about. I feel like we go through matches and sometimes there's a lot of incidents in matches. Maybe it wasn't a great deal today away from the goals, but I feel like we could touch on a lot of the players and a lot of interesting things to be taken. If we do go to the lineup Ange named, I thought it was a really exciting lineup, probably the most exciting team we've had in a while. Yeah,
and I think it's a lineup that most people were calling for as well. Everyone wanted to see Moy come in, everyone wanted to see Jota back in the lineup, and obviously Johnson kept his place as well, and Bernabe they kind of in for Taylor. So when I seen the lineup, it's what I thought it would be, and it's what I wanted it to be. And I was looking forward to seeing Jota get back into it. Obviously Ange was talking about him in the press conference, saying he's been looking sharp in training and things like that. So it was an exciting lineup, and it's as close to full strength as we can be at the moment. So I was looking forward to that. Obviously we've got the kind of issue with Jota and Maida, both sometimes I think are more dangerous on that left side.
You were going to bring this up because you love this.
It's something I've always noticed, and it was something that you've seen again in the first half. We switched over a couple of times, but I thought Maida was probably one of our better players in the first half. I thought he started really lively again. So I thought that was quite strong, and I thought Moy started the game as well. But as you mentioned, a lot of kind of slack passes and things in that first half.
He doesn't give the ball away, Aaron Moy. He really doesn't. He takes good care of it, and he had one moment in the second half where he kind of did a turn and set it up, and I think someone put it over the bar. But first half for me, I think something we should probably talk about. I know this is obviously Celtic, but it does affect us. And I know they're within their rights to do it, but it seems like virtually every team that comes here, whether it be Kilmarnock, Motherwell, Livingston, they just seem to come here in time waste from the start. Now, we've seen teams time wasting here for decades, and usually it happens in the later stages of matches when they're chasing a goal, but it's happening now from minutes into games, and I think it's because we have such a vibrancy to our play that teams try to slow everything down. And that Kelly goalkeeper today was just winding me up because he was fixing his shin pads and kicking the post, and there was one moment when he ran about 40 yards to congratulate a player and making a slide tackle, and it's all just geared at slowing the game down. Is it pointless talking about it because there's nothing Celtic can do about it? But Ange must find it frustrating. It's obviously, as you said, it's out with our control. We can only try and play the game as quick as we can, play with that intensity, which at times I thought maybe we lacked in the first half. But you're right, these teams, they're well within their rights to do it. They had 2 shots the full game today, and at no point, even at 0-0, I can't even remember them.
I can't remember. I just seen the stats after, but that's the least I've felt threatened, and I feel like I'm saying the same thing most home games now, where its teams are just playing so defensively, which again is fine, but it's a time wasting early on. There's no intent to actually want to come and make a game of it. And obviously we're speaking from a Celtic perspective, but even their fans can't really be enjoying this, and it'll be different if they're getting results. Sorry, I didn't hear the Kelly fans once today. And I was actually surprised there weren't more of them, but that's a separate point given they've not been here in 3 years or something. But didn't hear them once. No. And you can see, you mentioned that Ange must find it frustrating. I think he does, because I touched on it, and I can't remember if it was earlier or just one of the other videos, but after the Hibs game and even after last week's game, Ange enjoys when it's like a game of football. Whether we get the result or not, or whether we've had to weather a much more difficult period in a game, he enjoys that. He enjoys seeing us tested in different ways. Whereas when it's games like that, it must be frustrating. He said that his first answer, I think in the Radio Scotland interview, the Sky Sports interview, and the media conference after the derby on Monday, the first thing he said in all 3 of them was, what a great game of football. And I think you're right, he said similar after the Hibs game. I guess, as I say, there's nothing we can do about it. I guess if fans of other teams are watching this, they'd be kind of looking at us and saying, well, you have done the same in Europe in the past, Barcelona, etc. It does feel different when it's against your team, but it's just occurred to me that I think Hibs had a go this season,
But other than that, most teams have just come and really tried to stifle the game. I don't mind teams making it difficult for us, but it's just such a dull watch.
Yeah, like I think St Mirren was a great example. When they played us, I thought they were effective in everything they did. They stifled us, but had an intent.
Guess it's different. It's away from Celtic Park.
Yeah, but you've seen Aberdeen do that even at Pittodrie. So, like you say, we don't want to touch on it too much, but it is becoming quite frustrating just seeing other teams have no actual intent to want to make a game of football of it. But from a Celtic's perspective, we have to obviously then try and make that harder for them by playing it quick and playing at speed and playing intensity. And I think that's something that obviously Ange must have said at half time, because second half we did that.
I felt we were getting into good areas. I mean, Bernabe is the perfect example. I think Bernabe picks up really good areas. He drops into the centre of the park. I think he's a bit like Greg Taylor. He's made for this way of playing football under Ange, but it was just his kind of his passing at times. He had a number of crosses that were poor, but he was just taking too long to do things. I'm just picking Bernabe out because he's the one that's on my mind. It was kind of the story of the first half. I noticed they were giving Carl Starfelt a lot of room. They were effectively allowing Carl Starfelt on to just have the ball. Obviously because he's probably our least dangerous outfield player in an attacking sense. I wanted Starfelt to drive more, commit players to find passes. I just felt we were going wrong there in the first half, but we get the big goal just before half time. Both goals are quite similar today, both scrappy goals. I think Celtic have scored a lot of scrappy goals since the World Cup. Not a bad thing, by the way.
I thought the first goal was actually quite nice.
I'm sorry, I mean in terms of the finish.
The way it's,
and
I love that pass that we do. We've done that quite often, especially since the break, that incisive slide roll pass in behind the fullback.
Bernabe
did that, and it was good because, like, as you mentioned, I think he did struggle with his passing at times. I think you see again how important Taylor is to this team, because I think we just don't flow as well when he's not there. Positionally, on the ball, just he's really grown into such a key part of this team. So hopefully Bernabe, that will give him confidence, because I think he did come out better in the second half. I did notice Starfelt does get a lot of the teams. I think teams allow him a lot more of the ball because he doesn't eat up the grass as much as maybe Carter-Vickers does, or the fullbacks, and I think that's something we can work on.
Do you know, I think it's just a message, Starfelt, believe in yourself a bit more, because like I think when he steps forward, he attracts players to him. It gets other players out of position and it opens up the park, and it's almost kind of infuriating because you're watching him and he's got 50 yards of space, and he's just kind of standing there, and you're just saying, go, believe in yourself. I know it's not your game, but go, drive forward, find players, because it opens the game up. Can we talk about Daizen Maida though? Again, for me, man of the match today.
I thought so.
I know Hatate was great as well, but I just think Maida's playing out of his skin. I thought he was a real menace in that first half. That fullback for them did not have a clue. With Maida, I thought he knackered him. I don't know how the fullback wasn't booked in the first half, but Maida's just excellent at the moment. He had one run in the second half, the one I'm talking about, when he must have ran 70, 80 yards, and he put it over the bar, but he got a standing ovation for Celtic
and
Park.
Well deserved. I think he's just doing everything with such conviction now. He's got such a belief when he's running at players now, and you feel like even if it doesn't end up coming off for him, he feels more confident in what he's doing.
Do you think the World Cup's done that for him?
It seems like it, doesn't it? It's no coincidence he's came back from that, and every game we've seen him, he's been brilliant, and I do agree, man of the match. And it's his working back, his running with the ball though, I feel is a lot more effective than what it was before. It was like a knock and run. You'll put it back. Now it seems a bit more controlled.
Yeah, I'd agree. There's one again in the first half when he skinned two players in a row with really good skill,
with good close control, which I've not maybe associated with him in the past. So I think he's just really working on different parts of his game, and you always thought he's a confidence player, and you can see that. And he's mentioned before, like the work with Harry Kyogo and how that might have helped him as well, and you wonder if that's part of it as well, because he just seems like he's got a lot more self-belief in everything he's doing, and he deserved that standing ovation. I thought he was brilliant again.
Kyogo gets his goal kind of early on in the second half. I think he's up to 16 league goals.
I think it might have been John McGinley that tweeted that it's been given as a own goal, which I thought it might have been at the time. Don't know, we'll need to get that clarified, but it did look like it maybe took a touch off the.
Well, I guess it's only one goal. I mean, my question still stands. He is on course for an incredible season. I mean, he's on course. It's kind of gone under the radar a bit.
Another kind of reasonably quiet game from him, but he's just getting in those positions again. He had one that was it his goal, and offside one in the first half as well that was disallowed, I think.
Yes, that was
another typical kind of Kyogo goal. So he's brilliant. He's getting the goals for us now. We'll see if that one does get credited to him, but he's just getting in those positions, and yeah, that's what you want to see from him. Like, I think he's how many did you say, 16 or 17?
I think it's 15 if that goal's been taken off him. It might be 16, but you only played just over half the season. When he's well on course for late 20s, maybe even 30 goals, which is I don't think we've seen that for a while. And it's weird because you don't feel as if people are talking about him as a potential player of the year. No. But surely if he hits 30 odd goals, I mean, similar to what Moussa Dembele hit in his amazing first season, you would be looking at him as being a contender for player of the year. I thought Celtic, for as poor as we were in the first half, I thought second half we were excellent. You know, when we got that second goal, it just seemed to calm everyone a good bit. And I honestly thought we played some really, really good stuff. Abada came on and was lively. I thought Giakoumakis, again, was really good when he came on. I thought he was getting involved. His link-up play was good. He hit the bar with that long shot. He hit the bar with a header as well. Just waiting for that to go in for him. I think he just needs that goal. The shot was incredible because you're all just thinking that's way over the bar. And
then Matt O'Reilly nearly followed up with his potentially first goal of the season, but there was just so many different, like you say, good kind of moments of football, and we came out. I think the goal always helps you when you score first against these teams. The time wasting, you notice, suddenly stops, and the game just becomes a bit more of an open flow to it. So, but I thought as soon as we came out second half, there was a lot more intensity to our play. Everything was faster, quicker, and Rio Tate, I think second half stole the show.
Chat about him then, go for it.
Is he good
magic
enough?
No comment.
I thought he was. I thought first half he was slack, as was the whole team. But second half he just turned it on. The way he kind of uses his body and some of the skill.
Those
reminds me of like Petro. I don't know if you remember much of Stan Petro, but had that kind of ability, just turn and use his body.
The ball doesn't move. He almost keeps the ball still, and he just moves his body.
Uses the hips and the body.
I think who else has had a bit of that over the years? I mean, there's been a number of really, well-known players who use their body so well. He still has to do it at Champions League level, but he is such a talent.
There's one where he did brilliant skill, and then I think he tried to line it for maybe Maida, where I thought he could have hit it. It would have been a brilliant goal. But yeah, he's one that, again, we've said it before, he tries things. So yeah, that's probably why sometimes it might look frustrating with his passing, because it can, go misplaced or whatever, but he is trying things, and when you see him play like that second half, he was the best. Well, I thought, like I say, Maida was probably my man of the match, but he's just a joy to watch when he's on that kind of form. And I thought, just as a whole, the whole team, second half were much more on it, and the subs, they all came on, I think, 60-minute mark.
Well, he loves the 60-minute sub.
But I thought Jamesy looked sharp when he was on.
He came on a bit later, didn't he? I think he and Turnbull came on later. I think the 60 minutes were Abada, Giakoumakis and O'Reilly. And I think all five of them
quite well.
I thought especially, Turnbull and Forrest seemed to play some really good stuff late on in that game. Forrest blazes one over at the end that he should really score.
I don't know how we didn't score that third.
I don't know how we didn't score the 6th or 7th because honestly we hit the bar or the post 3 times. Their keeper makes an unbelievable save. I don't know who it was from, down low to his right. We had the Forrest one over the bar. I mean, that's like 5 goals there if that goes in, and that's my one frustration from today. In the grand scheme of things, it probably doesn't matter, but I would like to have seen us maybe score a few more because I felt our play really deserved it in the second half. I mean, it's another clean sheet for the defence. Can we talk about Cameron Carter-Vickers? Because he just goes under the radar, but like how good is he? Seeing everyone, the barometer is obviously Van Dijk.
Van Dijk, yep.
He's not at Van Dijk levels. I don't think he's going to go and have the career Van Dijk had, but I'd say in terms of when he's playing for Celtic, he's not far off in terms of the imposing force.
Yep. I agree. There's been quite a bit of chat of this, like, is he as good as Van Dijk was for Celtic? I think that's the question people say. Obviously Van Dijk's gone on to achieve so much more, but if I'm looking back at Van Dijk at Celtic, and he was brilliant, but I just feel that Carter-Vickers has got even more concentration, which sometimes Van Dijk had a bit of complacency maybe and knew he was too good. Quite rash. Also, if you remember, at that time we had no challenge whatsoever in the league.
Did we have a challenge? 12 points clear, I think.
Last season then, But I just think with Carter-Vickers, he's just got such concentration. He's got his attitude is spot on as well. And for me, I would say watching him right now in the form he's in is probably the best I've seen at Celtic for a long time.
How good do you think he can be? Like, what's his ceiling? He's young. He's I think 23, 24.
Yeah, I think he could. You look at some of these defenders playing in England, for example, for some of the big, I think he could easily slot into like a top 6, top 7 team and do a good job. I'm just surprised he didn't play more for America in the World Cup, because I think he's better than, for example, Ream
will come for
Fulham.
Well,
but I think so. He gets better with each game. And even like in the big games, I think in the Champions League games, he didn't let himself down. I know he missed a couple through injury, but he never has a bad game.
No,
and even within games, you just don't ever think, like there's one moment, in the first half when I think don't know the Kelly's striker's
I know
name.
what you're talking about. He could have drove, and it's just
and
easy. You never had any doubt.
You just knew, and the guy's a big guy and powerful guy, but Carter-Vickers just bossed him again, and there was a challenge obviously in the second half as well, which was around 88
late on. There was also one that people wouldn't even notice, but it was like a long kick, I think probably from the Kelly goalkeeper, and he was kind of the only player in the Celtic half, him and Joe Hart. And it was coming over his head, and maybe in the past the defender lets it bounce and messes because there's a Kelly player kind of on his back, and he just kind of knees it down and just deals with it. And wee things like that, he just deals with things with little fuss.
I just can't think of any characteristic he's missing as a centre back. He's strong.
He's quicker than you think.
He's quicker than you think.
Maybe height, maybe.
Yeah, but I feel like his judgment is so good as well that he doesn't let that hamper him. So I can't find any kind of part of his game which I think is a weakness.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably our most important summer signing. I think most people will agree with that.
Yeah. Alistair Johnson corner. We're going to just every single video from now on is getting an Alistair Johnson corner because apparently I love him.
You're a big fan, aren't you?
Load of rubbish, mate. I don't love him at all. That tackle in the second half, but just getting fired. And I thought he was fine today, Alistair Johnson. I want to see more of him in an attacking sense. I think he was doing a lot of turning back, but it's his first game at Celtic Park, and that tackle, alone was excellent and kind of made his performance. I really love the fact he gets stuck in, and I just think there's such a good player to work with there. Elsewhere, is there anyone you kind of want to pick out that we haven't already? I think we've touched on probably everyone.
Yeah, I think.
Touch on Ange. What was his performance like? He was enjoying it at full time, by the way.
He
was giving it all that. I know he does it every game, but I think Ange is going to go on and manage a major club. Already a major club. What I mean is like a major club in a major league.
Yeah.
Folk are going to be absolutely. I'm well aware Celtic are a major club. I've supported them my whole life, but I think he's going to end up at a club that can win the Champions League. Is what I'm saying. Yep. But I don't think he'll ever have a connection like he has right now with the Celtic support.
And I don't think he's itching to move away. In the past, obviously we've had successful managers, but you're always worried, are they going to have that lure? And like you said, I think one day, yes, but I feel like
Davey 1872 on Twitter said that he's wanting some job down south. No,
what club's that?
I think it was Everton or someone, isn't it?
I just don't see it. I just think he's got a vision, he's got a plan of what he thinks we can achieve and what he wants to achieve with Celtic, and I think he's going to give that a right good bash before he can be lured anywhere else. And yeah, he was enjoying it at the end, and I think it's like, what are we, 17 games now to go? If you look at the last time we were here, myself and yourself doing I think it was Ross County.
Yep.
Back in November, and we've had 6 games since, and that was the day we went 9 clear, and we are still 9 clear 6 games later, and that's having gone to Pittodrie, Easter Road, Ibrox, 3 of your toughest away games, and we're still 9 clear. So that you can't ask for much more.
9 clear worst case scenario tomorrow. Obviously could even be better.
We're in a really good position.
No, I mean this will get clipped in a week's time, no doubt, but no real fears for next week either against, Kelly I think will play. I know it's a different game, but I think they'll play a very similar way, and I just fancy us to win that one.
I think they're one of the poorest teams in the league, personally, from what
impressed.
I've seen. I've got no fear. I think the fixtures, again, don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but the cup semi, and then we've got a couple of other home games. It's a nice wee run of fixtures for us to really get towards the business end of the season and going into that next derby match. I think it's only 5 or 6 games away, isn't it?
I think it's a wee bit long. I think it's early April.
Is it?
Yeah, it's quite late in the fixture list. Okay. We'll obviously play them in the cup final before then, but
I just feel we've got a nice chance now just to keep ticking the games over. And I know it's still a long time to go, but it just feels like we're at that stage where I just don't see us dropping many points.
You don't seem in doubt with Celtic in any games at the moment. It just seem like there's so many Celtic teams we've seen in the past that they would throw in daft results, and I know this team has maybe done it occasionally, but no one's perfect. But this season they're just like laser focused. Every single week, we're going to win this game, whether it's 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 9-0. We're going to get over the line here. And again today, I thought it was magic. 2 other things I want to mention. First one, early January, it was raining earlier. It's no longer raining, thankfully. But great crowd today. Really good crowd. I thought it was 52, 53 53-54, which is a pretty good crowd for this time of year. And also Tomoki Iwata at half time. Did you see that? For anyone who wasn't at the game, Iwata, our latest signing, he addressed the Celtic Park support in English, which was excellent. I mean, fantastic. I think I heard Ange saying recently that he's been studying English because he always felt he would make some sort of move to Europe. But
a great sign of confidence, that, isn't it?
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's incredible confidence and without being patronising, bravery as well. I mean, to stand in front of 60,000 people, and he didn't just say like one sentence. He spoke for probably about a minute. It was quite cliched, and he did end it with hail, hail, but we won't mark him down too much for that. But I'm excited to see him. I thought he got a really good ovation, and I thought that took guts. I thought that was really good. He's not even kicked a ball yet, and we're already loving him. Yeah,
I totally agree with you. I thought that was pretty good of him because, we don't know how much English he spoke before at all, and I know like we're not trying to kind of group them together, but I don't think any other Kobayashi I think did last week, but for him to come in straight away, I think he only just arrived last night, and brilliant, and I think that'll just warm, the crowd kind of warm to that as well. Looking forward to seeing him play, by the way, as well.
I think he's going to surprise people.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think this is like an Ideguchi kind of signing, which we kind of came with that.
There were doubts.
There was doubts about whether he's going to make a mark with us, but with Iwata, by all accounts, I think he's going to be an important player.
Yeah, I'm excited. Anything else you want to get off your chest before I try and get this mic from away from my hand? I think it's welded to my hand now, it's that cold.
No, just another game to tick over, and an enjoyable second half, like you said. We've been at games before where it's 2-0 and it just peters out, and it wasn't like that at all. We kept going for it. It was an exciting finish to the game because we had so many more chances. So no, we can now sit back, enjoy the rest of the weekend, look forward to next week, look forward to potentially some more transfer activity as well. I just feel like there's going to be ins and outs still.
Hearing stuff.
We'll not go any further than that. Nah.
Asim's actually head of recruitment now.
But I think we all agree there's probably going to be some kind of movement.
So, yeah, that's fair.
With Ange, you can never tell. I think he's an honest guy, and he always kind of speaks the truth. But when it comes to transfers, I think he likes to sometimes keep things a bit hush, and then a week later you see like last year Matt O'Reilly suddenly pop up. So I think we want to keep an eye on.
Okay, thank you once again. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. Same goes for all of you. We'll be back very soon.